Misa, your humble servant. Just kidding. Misa, the sole arbiter of truth, obviously. The humble sole arbiter of truth. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today let's talk about which Galactic Legend farming order we're going to be pursuing and what the best legendary level characters that have been released in the last couple years, where they also fit into there because they cost about the same amount to farm and gear and get everyone ready for it. So as a Galactic Legend, so we may as well discuss it, guys. May as well. This is an updated video. I've made a couple of these before, so hopefully you're watching the correct in-date one. Huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I truly couldn't do this without you. I really couldn't. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount that algorithm, shall we? Let's see what order we should mount it, though. That'll be fun. That'll show them. Alright, first, guys, I think that we should discuss the Lightspeed bundles for just a minute. First off, no pressure to spend. If you don't want to spend money on this game, I'm never going to pressure you to. If it sounds like I am, please just assume that I'm not trying to, and I'm just doing a very poor job of communicating. I don't want you to have to spend money that you don't feel like you should be spending. That's fine. However, if you do want to spend money on this game, which the game does need some spenders to stay open, if you want to spend money on this game, you're not going to spend better money on anything than buying the Lightspeed bundles. Now, some of them you may already have all the characters farmed and everything. Obviously not a good purchase in that case, but you're bang for your buck. If you do the math, it is an obscenely good price, and it also really factors into this list because I have some Galactic Legends toward the end of the list where I'm like, if you can just get the Lightspeed bundles for them, they go to the very top of the list because you can get them. All of these characters, every single one of them is honestly very worthwhile. It's kind of splitting hairs, and this is kind of what I've decided is at least a somewhat optimized way of going. I don't even know if I started a new account today. I'm not sure if I would go this particular specific direction either, but I am going to give you guys what I think is probably the best ranking in terms of like what's going to benefit your stuff. So, anyways, let's talk about something else though, guys. Galactic Legends. Now, if you know me, if you've watched my channel a lot, you know that I don't like to use Galactic Legends on offense that much in GAC. Galactic Legends are a good tool, and they should be used as such, but I tend to go more for the off-meta stuff, the stuff that are not Galactic Legends, the less strong characters. And lately, there's been kind of a new trend that, I don't know, it's kind of just follows exactly what I've been talking about this whole time, is most Galactic Legends now just get destroyed by one or another off-meta team, whether it's like a permanent destruction, like it looks like Bo-Katan Mandalore is going to beat Lord Vader forever, unless there's a really specific datacron that saves Lord Vader for a couple months, but there's also datacron teams that are going to just absolutely manhandle specific Galactic Legends over the course of the time that datacron is out. So right now, Galactic Legends, yes, there's some reasons to be farming them, but they are ranked a little bit lower. Right now is the era of the peasants, folks. We're using a lot of just weird teams, like a team full of frog people, like the Gungans are just destroying Supreme Leader Kylo. It's very strange. It's a very strange situation, but just something to keep in mind here, folks, that Galactic Legends are kind of being devalued, and my ranking here really kind of reflects that. So as you watch, just realize, Galactic Legends are a huge expenditure, unless you can buy like a Lightspeed bundle for them, and I think that we should be farming a lot of these other teams instead. I think that's going to pave the way for a lot. So, with that being said, I don't think you can fake ships. That's the one off-meta thing that you really don't want to have to mess around with. And Executor is a wonderful new, it's not new, it's a Galactic Legend level ship. It's the third strongest fleet currently, but it is still strong enough to hang with the other two top tier fleets that you would consider Galactic Legend level fleets, and they have similar requirements to all the Galactic Legends and to the legendary characters, which is why all the three top fleets are included here. Now, the reason Executor here is first instead of like going for Leviathan is very challenging for, especially for newer accounts, to get the characters for. If you don't have if you can't unlock Malgus or his ship, that's a very challenging thing to be able to farm Leviathan, for instance. And Executor, however, when you start, now that CG's released a new player-friendly experience where more characters are going to be farmed and everything, there's a situation where Executor, you almost have all the ships anyways. By the time you hit level 85, you should have pretty close to everything you need for Executor, and the really nice thing is the requirements feed really well into farming, say, the Eternal Emperor if you want to, or Jabba, or even Lord Vader. You can, with this fleet, you're going to be really good in Rise of the Empire. It can do all of the neutral missions if you get them to 7 stars. And the nice thing about fleets in Rise of the Empire too is you don't have to reach certain relic levels. You just have to have them all at 7 stars, which is really nice. Yeah, it still beats all the different fleets. This is a very strong fleet, and I think it's kind of, I don't know for sure, but it seems like CG is kind of like pointing in that direction for new players anyways. Executor, absolutely one that you want to be working on. Now, Starkiller keeps moving up in these rankings, guys, because he's just aged really well. Now, some may argue that he hasn't aged well because the team that he's traditionally been on is really struggling to beat like Rey and beat a lot of these other teams, and I get that. I kind of agree on some levels. I also think that he's done a really good job of adapting to a lot of things in 3v3, especially because he doesn't need to have Sith or Jedi on the team. He can just have the new UFU characters, and you're beating all of the same old stuff. Like, you're beating Supreme Leader Kylo, you're beating Rey, you're beating like just all the Galactic Legends that he was previously. And, you know, you need Malicos and Seer with him, but he is a very adaptable character because as new characters are released for Sith, for Jedi, for unaligned Force users, he's going to be a character that's like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, this new character is awesome, and I'll facilitate the destruction of my foes with these new characters. Not to mention his requirement characters are still just all extremely useful, very, very strong. Like, you're not going to regret having farmed them, and he's really good at PvP. I guess the one thing to keep in mind is he's not as strong in PvE. He still does some stuff. He's not as interesting, unfortunately, but Territory Wars, Territory GAC, all two of those he's pretty strong, and he's not tough to get, and the characters are good, like I say. Now, Jabba is the first Galactic Legend on this list, and I still think he's the most important Galactic Legend in the game. Even though Leia is more recent, Jabba is still amazing on offense. He's okay on defense, though I think there's more and more things that can beat him. Unfortunately, I'll be putting out a guide on how to beat him with Starkiller, in fact, here pretty soon. I've been working on that. Hopefully, just put the finishing touches on it soon. But anyways, Rise of the Empire, he has his own assigned node for every single neutral mission, and I've done all of them personally, all the way up to P6, Phase 6, and he beats all of them without much challenge. Like, it might take a little bit of time toward the end ones, but not too bad. The one thing that I love the most about him, though, guys, is the Smuggler's Run 2. You get so many mod materials for it. It is just such a good one to get. Like, he's amazing for several reasons. Offense, sometimes on defense, but then the Smuggler's Run 2 event is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. That's all we need to say, guys. He's the most important Galactic Legend. And if you go a full year without farming him, then you're going a full year without all of those mod materials, upgrade materials, and attenuators. It's a rough thing. Like, I don't think that there's another Galactic Legend. It's tough to make me think that they will release a Galactic Legend that is as useful as Jabba across the board in every single game mode. Now, the Profundity, I think that people should be farming 2 Galactic Legend level ships fairly early on if they can. Profundity's nice. It's a little more out of reach compared to what you're getting for the new player experience, what CG's providing you. However, none of the requirements are completely ridiculous, and all of them are obtainable. It's also nice, though, guys, because it costs a lot of crystals to do the refresh for the missions to get all the way to 7 stars. So if you can get Profundity farmed to 4 stars, then you can just take your time and just every month add another 10 shards to your count, or maybe you just do 1 refresh or something. And it's nice to have that early on, so that early on you're facing people who don't have 2 amazing Galactic Legend level ships, and they can't just casually take on your 4-star Profundity. Instead, they're going to struggle on even a 4-star, and then as time progresses, you're going to be able to farm Profundity all the way up to 7 stars. I think that's a pretty good deal. It's the second best fleet. Obviously, it's an extremely strong ship. It can beat all the Galactic Legend level fleets as well currently. The requirements for it, if you look at all the requirements for Starkiller, Jedi Master Luke, for Leia, all of those just really tie in together, and it's a really nice fleet. Plus, you get AdRad, which is more and more just a really fantastic squad. I get so much use out of that squad, folks. Honestly, it is very impressive. Profundity is just it's a good fleet, guys. And it is something you can get early game. You don't have to wait to unlock something really tough to unlock, like Millennium Falcon. Yes, but Millennium Falcon is pretty easy to get. If you follow my new player guide, you'll know how to do it. Or if you just use your brain at all. So Jedi Cal, guys, he keeps moving up the ranks too, because so he's not as no-brainer as Starkiller, first off, because he's not killing Galactic Legends just on his own. He is a utility piece that is making it so that Jedi Master Luke, I feel like these days, Jedi Master Luke would be in a very sad position if it weren't for Jedi Cal. And even if you don't have Jedi Master Luke, he goes really well with Jedi Revan, who's really easy to get early game. He goes really well with, a lot of things, guys. A ton of different teams. He goes well in... He just goes well with a lot of different Jedi. He tackles a lot of different tough things. Like, Malgus is a really important team to be able to beat these days, and he facilitates that with Jedi, whether or not you have a Galactic Legend to go with him or not. The problem, of course, is that his requirements are not as interesting or strong on some of them. Now, some of them are really good, and you really want, like, the Baby Cal, Seer, and Marin. Amazing. Really good characters. You're going to use them a lot. Moving forward, you're going to want to put them to high relics, etc. And they're transformative for their factions, and eventually maybe we'll have Tarful in the same situation where Tarful, the Wookiee, has a really good faction. Hopefully we get another Wookiee at some point that it's really close. That faction's super close to being really strong. It's not strong yet, though, and you have to get him to gear 12, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize he costs a lot of Chirotech, like I think 300 Chirotech just to get him to 12, which isn't undoable, but of course it's tough to do. Saw, the exact same thing. Saw is a really good character if you're willing to really invest in his squad, but he is much more of a luxury character than anything else. And so, yes, the Jedi Cal is really strong, and you should be working on getting him as early as possible. However, it's not... The requirements are a little sad. That's all, basically. Okay, so here's something. This might be extreme, guys. We'll see. But my initial reaction now that we don't have the Bo-Katan. So okay, let me rewind a little bit. When Aphra was released, they released a datacron for her that made her completely ridiculously overpowered. And we were like, okay, how good is Aphra going to be once her datacron is gone? And the answer was not as good, not as dominant. Still good, still does some cool stuff, but not nearly as just central to what you need to do as we were kind of hoping she would be. Even after the datacron was gone, the datacron was really carrying her. Bo-Katan had an equally overpowered, amazing datacron. Once it went away, we were left with an amazing character anyway. She still does so many cool stuff. She's killing Jedi Master Kenobi, she's killing Lord Vader, she's doing stuff in Rise of the Empire, she's doing stuff in Conquest, she's all over the place doing amazing stuff. She's super resilient, really fun character to play, and I'm just more and more, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a way better character than I originally thought. When she was first released, I was underwhelmed, and now I'm actually whelmed. It's nice. She is very strong, and it seems a little bit like she's gonna be part of the future of this game. Like, it seems like they're going to be focusing a lot on things like Inquisition and like the fringe UFU, like unaligned force user things, and then also Mandalorians. It seems like those are going to be consistent kind of themes in this game and probably in Star Wars lore in general. And this seems like she was going to be a character that's helpful there. Now, the one thing that's really nice about her and Jedi Cal are they both have nodes to be able to, like bonus nodes to unlock new planets to help you not only get more stars in Rise of the Empire, also more Kyrotech if you get that far. You also get GET2, which turns into even more Kyrotech for your whole guild. I just think this is kind of a no-brainer. Yes, it's tougher to farm her right now because her farms are not accelerated, but also her requirement characters are very important anyways. If you've already got an Executor, then you're good to go on Bando. And then the Kelleran Beck Jedi, he's going to be really good. He might be really good also in the new raid. We don't know who's going to be required for the Naboo raid yet, but he's going to be really good. And then you also have the two characters that are just going to be on her team with Paz and IG-12. So just really, she only takes 4 characters to unlock. Really good investment, guys. She is quite the good character now. Okay, so now we get to Leia. Leia's pretty good. She's amazing on offense. She kills all the things on offense for the most part, unless there's a datacron that kind of stops that. But she's also decent on defense. She's like CG said, she's not as good on defense, but depending on the datacron, depending on the situation, she still can hold her own, especially in 3s. She's still just going to be fairly obnoxious. She does have her own specific event that happens every month, which is Endor Escalation. You get 1 Omicron material, which over the course of a year is going to give you about half of 1 Omicron to apply to someone, so she's not nearly as vital. Like, it's like 2 years to get 1 Omicron. I mean, it's not terrible, but at the same time, that's not a reason to just super rush her. She's pretty good. She is really good. And she'll be part of the future for a long time. Plus, she also does not have a lifter unit yet, which neither does Jabba. If they ever get to the point where they're not relevant anymore, CG can release Bib Fortuna or Trenchcoat Han for them, respectively, and make the team a lot better. Now, Jar Jar, this is maybe one of my more hot takes. I'm not totally, I'll just be real honest, guys, not totally confident that he should be this high up. I do know that as of right now, when I'm making this, I thought it was a good time to make this video because CG is not releasing any new information for another like month-ish. They've already told us that they're waiting until next month to release like a road ahead or whatever. So Jar Jar and company, like, right now, all eyes are on that Naboo raid, and we don't know everything about, like, we just still don't know what the requirements for that are. We do know for sure that we need guns, and so if there's one important game mode right now in this game, guys, maybe Conquest is slightly more important, I don't know, but I would say the other one is just whatever the most current raid is. And if you can be in a guild that's getting decent rewards, or, you know, at least you personally are able to earn decent rewards, you can find a guild that will get you, you know, you'll find a better guild. They'll be like, oh my gosh, you get that kind of raid score? Yeah, come join us, even if you have an undersized roster. And once the raid goes away, that's the big question. How good are Gungans going to be for other things? Now, we're in an era where there's so many different squads that maybe Gungans aren't going to be central to things. It's hard to imagine CG wanting to keep expanding this faction a whole lot. Honestly, it's a tricky thing to contemplate. Like, what other Gungans could they even add? Like, just a bunch of generic character? I don't know, but as of right now, it does seem like they're going to be killing several different Galactic Legends. It's going to be very challenging to beat them. It's going to take a specific team. It's not going to just be a casually ending to them, like a frog people would probably we'd have anticipated the frog people to really get destroyed. But yeah, they look like they're going to be strong, guys. They really do. And in a game where Separatists are such an important central faction, the fact that these guys counter Separatists really hard seems like they're going to have a place in this game for a long time. Whether it's like number 8 on the hierarchy or not long term is another question, but I think right now their place in the raid, combined with my projection of what power level I think they're going to be, I think an 8 is a reasonable guess at the very least. Next is Grumpface Luke. Now, honestly, guys, I know that some people, there's like this huge war over, is he good? Is he even worthwhile as a Galactic Legend? Like, what? And honestly, even really good players are divided on this. A lot of people, a lot of good players are like, yeah, he sucks, and an equal number of good players are like, yeah, he's actually transcendent and amazing, and those other players are idiots. And I tend to fall into the place of, I'll just use him to kill non-Galactic Legend characters for the most part. Yes, he can be good, and whatever. He's really missed a step, unfortunately. Just like those sequel movies, or himself when he's in the sequel movies, he's just not doing the most. However, he is really, really, really strong in Conquest. My gosh, he is amazing because he can call people to assist, and you get those kills from characters that otherwise would not be able to get a bunch of kills. That is amazing in Conquest. He does really well in territory battles. Like, he's an amazing PvE character, and he does fine in PvP. You can't put him on defense. He's horrible there, but that's fine. Maybe we'll get one of those weird, like, fish people who live, I don't know if they're fish people, like the people who live on this little island. Maybe we get like a Porg character to make him as a lifter unit. I don't know, but one way or another, he is really strong. And the awesome thing about your situation is, if you've already farmed Jabba, already farmed Leia, you have a ton of, and Profundity for that matter, you have a ton of the requirements already ready for unlocking Grumpface Luke. So it's not a huge expenditure. You're already almost there, so you may as well just frickin' unlock him, right? Now, Grand Inquisitor is one of those characters where you unlock him, you get him geared up, you're like, yes, finally I unlocked this legendary, let's go! And it turns out he's not that great. Maybe with Datacrons, he's fine, he is good. He's definitely not on the same level as, like, Bo-Katan Mandalore, for instance, but the thing is, he holds the promise to you making the squad really good. Inquisition, the trek to get Inquisition is exhausting. You need to get all of your Inquisition, from 5 Inquisition up to Relic 5 to unlock Grand Inquisitor. Then you have to get him up to Relic 5. Oh wait, Relic 7, and 4 other Inquisition characters up to Relic 7 as well. So cool, all those Relic 7s, and then you have to unlock Reva. Then you have to get her to Relic 7, and it's just a very expensive team. But man, they're so worth it. First off, CG have never released a Datacron set that the Inquisition don't like. They've always been looked out for by CG. They've always had some kind of good, relevant thing in Conquest. They've always been very strong and relevant on a lot of different levels. And they kill Galactic Legends. They defend at a high rate, sometimes, depending on the Datacron. Sometimes Phoenix just butcher the hell out of them, unfortunately. But they are really good. Their ships are really good. Very worthwhile faction to invest in. They are just expensive, and it takes for frickin' ever to get them, because after you have Grand Inquisitor, then you have to start unlocking Riva, and as a guild, that can be an onerous pursuit indeed. Now, Leviathan it's like, well, probably by the time you've gotten all these other ones, you have at least started farming Malgus in Proving Grounds. It's a tough thing to farm him in Proving Grounds. It's the toughest mission, very challenging. Once you finally do get Malgus and his ship ready, then Leviathan is good. It's the best fleet in the game. It's kind of an annoying fleet, but it is a very strong one. So they're working on it, guys. Very strong and probably going to be relevant for a long time. It's piloted by Sith, and you think the Sith are probably going to keep getting new ships and stuff because it's one of the most important factions in the game. Now, Jedi Master Kenobi is one of those characters. It's like, well, yeah, he's good. He is good. I mean, I can't say he's not good. When you unlock Kat, Commander Ahsoka Tano, she goes so well on so many different teams that if you unlock Kenobi, she basically just has to go with him, and that sucks. It's not fun. It's not imaginative. She just kind of gets chained to him, and you're like, oh, I guess Padme's just doing her own thing now. I mean, that's fine, but it's just kind of sad. And I just think that, yeah, man, he used to be my favorite GL. He used to be the best character on defense. He's still going to be really strong on defense, certain circumstances, really good on offense, really strong. He used to be the pinnacle. The pinnacle has moved a little, unfortunately, and Inquisition just beat the hell out of these guys. It is a good team. I joke about it, but it's almost true that Kat is more of a Galactic Legend than Kenobi on some level. I know that that's not exactly accurate, but that's how it feels to me. Like, Kat is a more important ingredient in a lot of ways. So I'm never anxious to unlock him on a new account because you're already getting all the output from Kat already. Now, his requirements might end up being really good for the Naboo raid. They haven't announced what Galactic Republic Jedi are going to be required, but it seems like his unlock Jedi might actually be fairly relevant for him. Now, Lord Vader is one that he's ahead of the other Galactic Legends here, guys, because he already has, if you've worked on all these other Galactic Legends that I've talked about, he at least has some overlap with them. He has good requirements, actually. All of the characters required for him are characters you eventually wanted to relic anyways. He is pretty good. He's just now, if he's on defense, Bo-Katan just destroys him. That's just the truth. Unfortunately, now he has Empire, and he does good things for dark side unaligned Force users, which makes his synergy with the Inquisition really good if you have both of them. You're also unlocking Bad Batch, which are good with the Marauder, which is a really good off-meta fleet that you might want to be working on. You kind of need Maul in order to make him work, but yeah, he is good. He's also the most expensive Galactic Legend in terms of relics, in terms of total investment, so I'm not super excited to work on him yet, but on my middle account, I have 3 accounts right now. He's the one Galactic Legend I don't have, and I don't know at what point I will ever have him, honestly. Now, Supreme Leader Kylo is not, I would honestly probably put him before Lord Vader. The problem is there's no overlap characters with Supreme Leader Kylo and anyone else. I guess there's a couple, but for the most part, it's like, oh, go farm an entire faction that is not overlapping with anything else on other Galactic Legends, on other requirements. Just work on that team, and then you're rewarded with one temperamental, banner hemorrhaging Galactic Legend, which is not the worst thing in the world, but he's good, he's strong. If you can get the Lightspeed bundle for him, I feel like that's the best option. Obviously, you don't have to if you don't want to spend the money on it, but he is very strong in PvP. He's really strong in PvE as well, depending on if the Night Sisters just decide to focus him down or not right away, etc. Or the weird fish creatures on Haven in Phase 4. Yeah, he could just die like a chump. And you got to be careful too in Conquest. If you have a data disc that increases his turn meter, his life will also decrease. His max health will decrease by 20% each pop. So yeah, he's good. He's got a little, he's kind of aged a little bit, but he's fine. He's fine. He looks like a platypus. Now we have Rey, and she's honestly amazing. She should be way before this, but her stuff, like everything that's required for her, like her fleet is okay. Her faction is okay. I mean, the Zori team can be good, but you don't even need Zori to unlock her. And she has even less overlap, and you also, on top of that, need Ben Solo to make her really strong. So there's a lot of weird things about Rey that it's like, well, I don't know, like, yeah, she's really strong, but there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through, and you're probably going to get more bang for your buck on other Galactic Legends at this point, because unlocking Jabba gets you all these different nodes that you can just hit auto on in Rise of the Empire. It gets you a cool mission that's exclusive to him. You get all this cool stuff. With Rey, you unlock her, and it's like, oh, you get some like pink currency every month, a little bit, and there's just it's just like you just don't get that much for her. Yes, she's really strong. She's honestly like a microcosm of what Zori is. Very strong, not really required for anything at this point. Now, Backpack Emperor, one thing that you'll find is you probably unlock him before either of those others, because all of his requirements, except for a couple, are good enough that eventually you'll just have them relicked, and you'll be like, oh, oops, I guess I'll just gear up Sidious now, and then I'll unlock Backpack Emperor, which is fine. He's a strong attacker, he's not good on defense. If you have really buff Sith, you can do some good stuff in Rise of the Empire with him, I suppose. I didn't update this I updated all the other slides. I didn't update the Raid GL. He's not a great Galactic Legend anymore, because Stark and Veers, yeah, they're good for the Endor missions, but the Naboo one isn't. So my bad on that one. But the requirements are very useful. He's pretty good. He's fine. Bane was such a disappointment in some ways, because he was supposed to be the lifter, and now Bane is just too good, and Sid the Eternal Emperor is in the same place as he used to be. Finally, folks, we have Dr. Aphra, and she is really strong in PvP and 5v5. She'll take out she'll take out about half of the Galactic Legends. She'll do some damage against a few of the other ones, like Lord Vader. She maybe won't kill, but she'll be able to take out some of the ads. But that's in 5s. In 3s, she doesn't get her Omicrons for some reason, so she's not nearly as strong. She really wants a big team anyways. And the problem is, guys, none of her stuff is required for anything at all, and you can kind of just play the game happily without her or her requirements. And that just kind of sucks. She's not needed right now for any single thing at all, and she really just kind of epitomizes a luxury unit. Now, like I said, all of the characters on this list are very strong, and, Aphra is no exception to that. She's just a lower power tier than the rest, and especially a lower urgency level, because the only thing that she's really required for at all in the game right now is for people looking at, she's good at Rise of the Empire a little bit. She has a couple nodes that she's required in. Otherwise, that's about it, guys. People think her goggles are hot as well. So let me know, what are your thoughts? Tell me what you agree and disagree on the order of this list. I hope it helped. I hope that this is something that you can use for planning. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.